A life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. The reasonable man adapts himself to the world, the unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore all progress depends on the unreasonable man. The liar's punishment is, not in the least that he is not believed, but that he cannot believe anyone else. Success does not consist in never making mistakes but in never making the same one a second time. Patriotism is, fundamentally, a conviction that a particular country is the best in the world because you were born in it. He knows nothing, and he thinks he knows everything. That points clearly to a political career. Both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. The optimist invents the aeroplane, the pessimist the parachute. The man who writes about himself and his own time is the only man who writes about all people and all time. The only man I know who behaves sensibly is my tailor. He takes my measurements new each time he sees me. The rest go on with their old measurements and expect me to fit them. Life does not cease to be funny when people die any more than it ceases to be serious when people laugh. Power does not corrupt men, fools, however, if they get into a position of power, corrupt power. When a stupid man is doing something he is ashamed of, he always declares that it is his duty. Imagination is the beginning of creation. You imagine what you desire, you will what you imagine, and at last you create what you will. The power of accurate observation is commonly called cynicism by those who have not got it. Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. Life is no brief candle to me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got a hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it on to future generations. Pasteboard pies and paper flowers are being banished from the stage by the growth of that power of accurate observation which is commonly called cynicism by those who have not got it. Do not waste your time on social questions. What is the matter with the poor is poverty. What is the matter with the rich is uselessness. I'm not a teacher, only a fellow traveler of whom you asked the way. I pointed ahead of myself as well as you. The only service a friend can really render is to keep up your courage by holding up to you a mirror in which you can see a noble image of yourself. My main reason for adopting literature as a profession was that, as the author is never seen by his clients, he need not dress respectably. Chess is a foolish expedient for making idle people believe they are doing something very clever, when they are only wasting their time. The longer I live, the more I realize that I am never wrong about anything, and that all the pains I have so humbly taken to verify my notions have only wasted my time. The plain working truth is that it is not only good for people to be shocked occasionally, but absolutely necessary to the progress of society that they should be shocked pretty often. Marriage is an alliance entered into by a man who can't sleep with the window shut, and a woman who can't sleep with the window open. The people who get on in this world are the people who get up and look for the circumstances they want, and, if they can't find them, make them. You cannot have power for good without having power for evil too. Even mother's milk nourishes murderers as well as heroes. I shall always be a flower girl to Professor Higgins, because he always treats me as a flower girl, and always will, but I know I can be a lady to you, because you always treat me as a lady, and always will. Few people think more than 2 or 3 times a year. I have made an international reputation for myself by thinking once or twice a week. What is the matter with universities is that the students are school children, whereas it is of the very essence of university education that they should be adults. Would the world ever have been made if its maker had been afraid of making trouble? Making life means making trouble. There's only one way of escaping trouble, and that's killing things. You know well I couldn't bear to live with a low common man after you two, and it's wicked and cruel of you to insult me by pretending I could. Don't think you can frighten me by telling me that I am alone. France is alone. God is alone. And the loneliness of God is his strength.